Let's go to Adelaide now and catch up with Independent Senator Rex Patrick. Good to talk to you, Rex. Just before we go on to some national strategic issues, I want to get your thoughts on this travel ban for Australians in India. Do you think it's the wrong thing to do to refuse Australians that right of re-entry to their own country?
Good afternoon, Chris. Look, I think not only is it unreasonable, I actually think it's probably unlawful. There are constitutional questions over whether or not you can actually deny someone the right to re-enter their country. And certainly when they do come back to the country, they should not be arrested for a criminal offence. The Australian government has a responsibility to assist Australians when they're overseas and in difficulty, not to criminalise them for wanting to come home.
It's certainly in contravention of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Well, it raises issues. One of the fundamental rights of someone who's a citizen is their ability to return home, and we've had High Court cases in relation to questions of whether someone can come home without a passport, and it's been found that you actually don't need a passport. Certainly it makes it a lot easier at the border, but you can't refuse Australians entry into Australia.
There's a court case starting on that soon. It may not actually be completed by the time this pause finishes in 9 days from now, but you would expect surely, even from the tone of what the Prime Minister is saying now, that they won't do this again, that the pause will be temporary, and hopefully after March the 15th, we will never again have Australians refused entry to their own country except in the most extreme of circumstances.
Look, I think people understand that if they come back from a jurisdiction where there is a COVID pandemic playing out, that they would go to quarantine. I don't think anyone's going to argue that point. The problem is when you criminalise someone for doing that, and that's where the Prime Minister has gone too far. I think he has realised that it may be for the Parliament to adjust the head legislation to make sure that is prohibited in the future.
Now, while I've got you there, I'm pretty keen on your thoughts about the tub thumping we're seeing from China of late. There's been a lot of strong rhetoric, wolf warrior diplomacy and the like, and especially with your background as a submariner, whether there's a strategic gap unfolding between the retirement of the Collins submarines and the availability of the new French submarines, and plans revealed today by Peter Dutton, the new Defence Minister, to try and upgrade the Collins class, so effectively they're more effective longer to fill that gap. Is this doable? Is it reasonable? Or is it inevitable that Australia, at least in that sense, in its submarine capacity, is going to be exposed in the decades to come?
Well, can I just say that, first of all, the talk about the beating of the drums is a cause for concern. I think there is truth in the underlying information about that. We've seen the Chinese National Council, People's Council, have removed the word peaceful reunification of Taiwan. They've removed the word peaceful. We've seen hawkish commentary from PLA officials, and of course there's issues in relation to the South China Sea that have been playing out as well. What we know strategically, and this has now been recognised by the Department of Defence, is Australia no longer has a 10-year notice period in respect of conflict. That was realised last year and put out publicly. We have to sharpen our focus on the current capabilities of the Australian Defence Force. And in relation to submarines will play an important part in the defence of Australia. They're a very, very capable asset, and we do have to make sure that we have a highly capable, modern submarine force that is available at any particular point in time. And I think that's the point behind the announcements that are being made. I was actually one of the first 6 people ever posted to a Collins-class submarine a couple of decades ago. The Collins-class submarines were designed to run through to 2026. Then we were supposed to have a future submarine force. We know the future submarine program is not going to bring us a submarine until 2035 at the earliest. So we do have to do something about that gap in time. There have been, since about 2012, research and studies done in relation to extending the life of the Collins-class submarines. So it's no surprise. The Department of Defence have a handle on this. If anything, I would criticise them for being late in this regard. But what we're going to see, hopefully, is from 2024 an upgrading of those submarines in terms of the capabilities, new diesel generators, new main motors, above water sensors, power distribution boards, to make sure that beyond 2024 we have a submarine that we can be confident will act as a deterrent, and if that deterrent fails, that we can send our sailors off into the seas around Australia and to our north and know that they are safe, and that if presented with any particular difficulty from a warfighting perspective, that they will come away as winners rather than losers.
Yeah, so it's pretty crucial, and it sounds like there is a good opportunity here now to actually fill that capability gap. Thanks for joining us, Senator. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.